know me? Hell no. Yeah.
Hey, hey, I think that's what. Oh, easy. He's not a fucking worker, bro. Calm down.
Yeah. What the f was that, bro? I don't play that.
Sorry about that.
Nah, I will.
Feel that.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. Hey, it's gonna all work out.
Yeah. Hello. I appreciate it.
I didn't know. I thought you were camera. I get it. We're working out. Well, he's gonna come out on your mat, Juice. I know you keep thinking we're working. We're all
on his shit. You give him his receipt. You remember what a receipt is? Give him that receipt. Go tag his shit. They gotta put it off out there. Tag it.
Hey, you gotta stop this shit, man.
Yo, it's Dolo again. What's going on, y'all? This is the Ghost of Arthur channel. Welcome again. This is a video that I thought about doing for the Dolo Ren channel, but I feel like it's better off for this channel because there's some topics I want to get into, like for my combat and MMA boxing analysis and predictions channel, which is Dolo Ren. That's more for like, really getting into like, I study fights for that thing, for that channel. I study fights, I analyze fights, I also analyze history. I'm sort of a historian in that sense when it comes to the combat sports world. And this is something that's combat sports related. I'm sure you've seen everybody talk about it so far. Asmongold, who else? Wade Concept, Chael Sonnen. People are getting on Chael Sonnen right now for having a really bad take about it, which I understand, like, no, it wasn't a work, you fool. MMA Guru, Penguin Zero, like literally so many people on YouTube, right? The reason I didn't want to like make this like a combat sports kind of thing from my other channel is because I got a few things to say here. To give y'all some background of what happened. What happened was Rajah Jackson, Rampage Jackson's son, has a streaming career now. He's been streaming, his life, how he interacts with, Rampage, his family, how he interacts with people at the gym, his training, he does Muay Thai stuff. Man, like even on X, I had like a tweet where like I showed him some respect, because he was talking about how his father is rich and he's not rich. So he wants to go out and do it himself. And I respect that a lot, But then, I retweeted that and said that. And then a few hours later, this whole thing with Syko Stu happens. And mind you, like soon I'll be streaming on Kick, but at the moment I don't stream on Kick. And that's where this all happened, was on Kick, on Rajah's channel. Basically, Rajah Jackson, who's Rampage Jackson's son, went to go to a professional wrestling event, some like underground kind of promotion, right? There was a wrestler named Syko Stu. And I guess he just must have thought that Rajah was already hip and in the know of how they operate and how they joke around and how they do things. So this guy Syko Stu just takes like a can. I guess like it's like a fake can or something. It's something like a prop can. He smashed it over Rajah's head when Rajah asked him, "Who are you?" Because Rajah didn't know who he was, right? And so this guy Syko Stu hits him with a can. Mind you, I'm giving you the chronological flow of events so that, it's all cleared up because we got most of the details right now. And I know LAPD's investigating what happened, but so Syko Stu hits him with a can. Doesn't look like it had any effect. It kind of just crushed really easy. Doesn't look like it had like, it didn't push, Rajah didn't go back like that. It just kind of stayed still and it crushed on his head. But Rajah didn't like that, which is understandable. And I'll get to that near the end of the video, but like, or like, along the way. But, it led to other wrestlers intervening and saying, hey, like, Stu, calm down. He's not a worker, whatever. So, Syko Stu had to tone it down a little bit and say, oh, my bad. Like, whatever happened, they shook hands and agreed that, like, it was all good. You could hear Rajah saying, I get it. And then as the stream goes, Rajah's talking about, oh, I'm going to do something to him. You're going to see this is going to be real. Really crazy stuff, like really incriminating stuff for what happened, what eventually ended up happening, right? Rajah goes in the ring. It's his time to perform. Syko Stu is already doing his thing. And Syko Stu and then Rajah, is his time to enter the ring, right? The event's going on during the The midst of it, Raja slides into the ring. He double legs Syko Stu, picks him up, which off rip you could see his strength. Even through his shirt, you could see like how strong his back is. So he scoops him up, slams him Rampage Jackson style, head bouncing off the canvas, whatever. Syko Stu was probably, I can't really tell if he was like selling it still or if he was really knocked out at that point. Cause that slam, he at least looked knocked out, right? And then basically Raja starts swinging on him, starts ground pounding him, but not like straight punches, like hooks. Like he's like swinging hook from hook from hook from hook. Hit him like maybe like 30 times, like and then I guess at first, like people are still thinking like it's still a work because nobody was going up to stop it. He threw like 10 punches and nobody tried to stop it. And then eventually someone tries to stop it. Raja pushes him off and then, he keeps punching the guy. Then more wrestlers come in to intervene. So at that point you could tell that, okay, this isn't a work. Like this is for real. Like Raja is really mad, and you can obviously tell why he's mad, because after that event, after he leaves the arena, they're still trying to wake up Syko Stu. And he's out continuing his stream talking about, oh, y'all not gonna mess with me. Y'all not gonna tell me I'm a B, like I'm a punk. Like, just really just like, what else do you call it, bro? It's chimping out, bro. Like, he's chimping out. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's no other word for it. Yeah, his manager calls him or his coach calls him and says, yo, like, the guy's not waking up. The guy's not waking up. And Raja's like, oh, my bad, my bad. Like, you could tell he's still coming down. He's still got that adrenaline in him.
I understand that, but now they can't wake you up. He's fucking in the ring, flatline, bro.
My bad.
You didn't have to do all that shit. I understand y'all had heat. You didn't have to fucking take advantage.
I'll call you back later.
Then later, we see Rampage reacts to it and says, like, oh, my son got hit with a can and, the wrestler basically deserved it. Like, basically, that's what Rampage said. There's really no other way to interpret what Rampage said to defend his son. And I get it. Like, Joe Biden got to defend his son, Karl Malone's son got to defend Karl Malone, right? That happened like a week ago, like a few days ago or something like that. I get it, man. I get it. Rampage, I understand as a father, you're trying to protect your son. But I don't even think I had to say anything to Rampage. I'm pretty sure Rampage saw what happened and he knew that was wrong. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts. There really is no defending it when it happens in a pro wrestling ring. Like, are you crazy, bro? Like, you're not crazy. He wasn't crazy. Like Raja knew exactly what he was doing. He probably even thought this would be like a clout move too. And that's one thing, that's not one of the things I wanted to mention, but I'll mention it real quick. Oh, and by the way, the LAPD are investigating this. Syko Stu woke up from what we've heard, and he's been cooperating to get something done about this deadly assault that happened, right? Like, yeah, just the fact that, this whole streaming world kind of gasses. It's like it's adding gas to the fire. It's making these people want to act a certain way. Do we blame the audience? Do we blame the chat room? Do we blame chat? No, we don't blame chat for that. Chat's gonna do what they do. They already have their own agendas. They're gonna come in and talk crap. If you're Ice Poseidon, they're gonna come in and ruin every single stream you had. With Raja, bro, it's like, man, like I said, I had a lot of respect for how he was going about his streaming career. He wasn't trying to piggyback off of his father too much, and I did respect that. And I respected his talents and abilities in the Muay Thai gym. And, obviously he has natural strength. He has those genes from his father. He knows how to fight. Like, probably a pretty good fighter. Like, real respectable dude. I really liked him, bro. I really liked him, but man, he messed up extremely bad. Like, I saw a comment on X or it was like Instagram or somewhere, and it was talking about Rampage. Now, mind you, Rampage has always been a wild boy himself, Like, when he did the interviews with Ariel Helwani and he would slap Ariel Helwani and, call him a punk, all type of, he'd grab on women and like dry hump them on camera. Like, he was crazy. Like, Rampage was nuts. But we never saw him, scoop slam somebody and drop them on their head and then give them a 30 piece while they're unconscious. We never seen Rampage do anything like that. That's an extension of him in a sense. So as a father, I mean, I'm not a father, but I feel like if you're a father, you would have to take that on the chin too. Like, damn, my son did that, and my name is Rampage, and he did a rampage basically. So the optics are bad. Everything Raja said before it happened was bad. And Rampage defending his son is bad, bro. It's bad. Back to Rampage, right? I saw this comment on like IG or X or YouTube where it said, Rampage, this is the result of your father being your biggest bully in your life. And that made me think. I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because maybe it was more than just a chat room making Raja mad, right? I think we all have like memories and thoughts that bring us to like a dark place. And I think some of us stay in that dark place for a long time because they can't let go of those thoughts. And I don't know if those thoughts really ever go away because I have them too. Like, not trying to kill somebody or nothing, but crazy thoughts pass my head too, as I think they do everyone. To call it a void is basically what it's called. Yeah, he answered the void. He definitely answered the void. Think about Rampage and how he's been as a father. You never really think about that. Like, you see how he treats you saw how he treated Ariel Hawani on camera. You see how he gropes up women on camera. Even now, even with Rampage's streaming career right now, he's still groping women in public. That's if he isn't banned on Kick. I'm pretty sure his son is banned on Kick. I'm pretty sure Raja is out of here. But yeah, maybe there's some truth to that because like it looked like some rage. Like you could see like that rage kind of came from within him, yo. This is like a study of human psychology. Like this could be like this was the boiling point basically, and Raja reached it. Whether it was from how he was raised as a, how he was raised or what the chat room said, like he reached that boiling point. Like you see Dana White like slapping his wife in public. You saw like that French dude, French politician or president or whatever, like get slapped by his wife behind the camera, behind the scenes, and then walk out like nothing happened. And people catch these things on camera, and you got to think like if you see these things in public, how are these people in private? And not just private, but how are they with people that they personally interact with and personally deal with on a daily basis? Especially someone like your child, like your son, right? How has Rampage really been as a father? Now, I'll show a picture real quick that shows Raja's childhood home, or I believe something like his childhood home where he's spent a lot of time growing up, and it's beautiful. Like Rampage made a lot of money in Pride. He made a lot of money in UFC, maybe less money in UFC, but Rampage made a lot of money from sponsors. He made a lot of money from fighting overseas and stuff. Like I think he almost had like a Reebok shoe or something. Like Rampage was a man, bro. And not to make this too much about Rampage, but it's only just to ponder like maybe Rampage did indirectly make his son like this. Because like I say, I come from the angle of like a white Hispanic American. There's a lot of things that, can tip you over the edge, right? When you think too deep about things. I can only imagine, right? Like how Rampage feels and how Raja was raised and, how Rampage must have reacted in certain situations. I understand that feeling of rage. Maybe Rampage wasn't the best father. Maybe he wasn't. And maybe now he's doing what he can because clearly his son was wrong. But him defending his son like that, it might have even came out of like Raja's actions came from like a place of hurt and a place of maybe it came from a place of hurt and a place of like feeling inferior because of maybe how his father raised him and how people talk to him and how he let that affect him. You could also, and I feel like you also could kind of see like with Rampage making excuses for his son, that's maybe part of him feels guilty that his son took on some of that rage that was in him inside of Quentin. And that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. I think Rampage is just doing anything he can to make sure his son doesn't end up in a prison cell because at the end of the day, Rampage might feel responsible for that happening. As I think any parent, any good parent would feel partly responsible for that. You know what I mean? You brought the child into the world and you raised him, you were there, and this is how he ended up. Sad, bro. Sad. And I can't say I know all the details, but I'm pretty sure Rampage wasn't an absent father. That would be pretty bad. And if he was an absent father, then that would make even more sense why Raja was why he did what he did. Now the second thing I wanted to get into was like the rage, right? I guess like I said, as like a white young Hispanic American, there's a lot of things that'll take you off. A lot of things, you know. You feel like society isn't really looking out for you. You feel like maybe if your skin was a little darker, people would like you more. You think maybe if you had irresponsibly had like 3 or 4 or 5 kids, you know, then maybe the government would look out for you. Maybe then you get some food stamps that are worth anything. Maybe then you get some Section 8. Maybe then you get some welfare. Maybe then you get some benefits. Maybe then you get some free health insurance. Maybe then you get some security and you know, job security or something like that, bro. And honestly, I wouldn't take away from anybody else's experience in America as well. I only say that to say that I understand, you know, and not just being what I am, because what I am is just a small part of it. It's where we're from that makes the most of the difference, I think. And being like a young white Hispanic American from a neighborhood that's like basically like 80% black, like, and the rest is like Mexican and Puerto Rican, like coming from one of them urban kind of hoods, you know. There's even more things that make you, you know, might instill bad feelings into you, that might instill like feelings of anguish, you know, feelings of aggression, feelings of inferiority. And then even being in that kind of low class poverty neighborhood, you know, there's already a lack of resources for you. There's a lack of people that love you or care for you. And it's not like all of us that look this way were born in rich scenarios. We're born in exquisite, lavish kind of scenarios. We weren't. Most of, I'm not gonna say most, but a lot of us were not, right? And I understand how, you know, you could feel inferior and somebody does something to you. You think about when you got bullied on a playground and nobody had your back. Being bullied in school or being bullied on the bus or not being able to fit in with the kids in the neighborhood, playing ball in the hood and nobody passing you the ball because you're a white kid, basically and nobody really likes. I understand, you know, feelings of inferiority when it comes to like social structure and like culturally, right? Because another thing about that is that a lot of white Hispanic Americans aren't really taught their culture. They come from parents that didn't give a damn about culture. So, you know, it kind of leaves you like feeling like, you know, this is what I am. People look at me as white. You know, I get treated like I'm just like a uncultured piece of shit. My point of saying all this, right, is just to stay true to what my channel is really about and giving you the perspectives of who I am or a person that's like me. But like in Raja's case, I'm basically saying all this to say that I feel Raja. I feel Raja, bro. He doesn't have to be from a poverty neighborhood. It doesn't matter that his father was Rampage Jackson, you know, rich and famous and wealthy, whatever, you know, well off and all that. That rage that I saw when he was in the ring, and then after, I saw me in that. I saw me in that. And we're completely different people. We might, you know, like fighting, we might train combat sports, but we're different people. But that rage was something that I am familiar with. And there's a feeling with people like that where it's like something happens to you, somebody punks you out, or somebody treats you like shit or tries to embarrass you in front of everyone. And you don't want to go to like you go to sleep, you take it on the chin, right? You go to sleep, you go throughout your day, and you can't let it go. You can't let it go. It just stays in your head, and then you go to sleep, and your head is on that pillow, and you're thinking about what that person did, and it's killing you. It's really killing you because you can't do nothing because you let it pass already. I know that feeling. That feeling sucks, and you know that's and it's part of being an adult, though. You know, you think you're a pussy, like you think you're a punk because you didn't do nothing, but it's really just part of like being an adult and being a human being. Our goal is to make it home and make it to the next day and to be better and better, not to chimp out and lose everything you have over your emotions. That's what women do, just to be honest. So I feel him, bro. I feel Raja. Like I understand how it feels to feel inferior, and you know, and that's really what it was. It's not even really what Syko Stu did. Cause he forgave Syko Stu. they dapped it up and said, he said, I get it, my bad, yada yada. It was cool. It was cool. Although I sympathize with Raja and his feelings, my third point here to make and that I wanted to say was that Raja's a coward. Raja's a fucking coward, bro. Like, yeah, like we look at Anakin Skywalker, right? And yeah, he was a slave. His mother was sold into slavery. The Jedi came, took him, separated him from his mother, said he couldn't have a girlfriend or wife, said that he couldn't be anything but a Jedi, had to do nothing but train, couldn't see his family, couldn't go see his mom, you know, just put this title of the chosen one upon him. All while they were lying to him and just like stopping his growth, like we get it. We get the Darth Vader story. That doesn't like it's still he still became Darth Vader. He still killed millions of Jedis. He still took over the world and like, he became the symbol of evil. Everybody has some type of thing to go through. But the difference between us, and some of us really do have that innate kind of rage in us that we want to just explode and let the world know you can't mess with us no more. Like, I get it. But Raja, you're a coward, bro. Because you dapped it up. You was cool with it, bro. You was cool with it. You dapped it up. You said, I'm not going to mess with you. And then you hold in that anger, right? You hold in that anger and then you release it at the worst possible time when it was showtime. Why didn't you punch him when he said that to when he did that to you? As soon as that can touched your head, you were supposed to go doo. You're supposed to go doo, 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 doo. Like, but you didn't do that. You're a fucking coward. Because a real like if you really had and that's where it's like it's hard for me to sympathize at that point. Because I've been there before, but I was young. I was a baby. You know what I mean? I'm 32 now. And nowadays, like, I don't hold that rage in. I let it out right there. People would say, oh, Dolo gets angry. Dolo can't control himself. You can't talk to Dolo because he gets mad, yada, yada. No, I'm just not going to hold in some shit that's going to burn through me later. I'm going to tell you how I feel right now so that I don't even have to think about this later. Maybe you'll think about it because you wanted to do something to me when I responded like a man. But I'm not just gonna hold this anger and no, like no. At the very least, I'm gonna stand up for myself and say something. Like if that was if at that point, if you get physically attacked, then you can do something. You're allowed to do something to that person. And if Raja felt physically attacked by Syko Stu, he should have did something right in the moment. And shout out to Syko Stu. Like that's one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that he's former military. The optics are just bad on this, bro. Really just bad. And Raja acted like a complete coward to hold that rage in and then to do that later. And that's why I let it out when something happens. If you disrespect me or if you do something to me, I'm gonna let it out right there and I'm gonna say something nasty to you. Or if you put your hands on me, I'm gonna do something back to you. Instead of holding it in and then later on, attempting to, put somebody in the hospital for a long time, for a very long time. It's just ridiculous, yo. Like that's just cowardly behavior, and it's real, and that's why it kind of makes the waters even muddier because it's like Rampage is your father, and you're acting like this, bro. Rampage would have broke that dude's jaw the minute that can touched his head. At that moment, you kind of have the right to do something, and that's basically what Guru said. But like my whole thing is like, why well, we know why. That's that inferiority complex in him that made him do that. Made him hold it in and then release it later. But that's why you do things when it happens, because the more you let it sit within you, it's like you ever seen those like experiments with like the hot rod or the hot ball, and they put it in like water or plastic or whatever, and then the hot ball, like the red hot ball, just keeps burning through it or like burning through whatever stack of paper it's on or whatever. You've seen those experiments, right? That's what anger is. I even say to a certain extent hatred. I'd say anger and hatred are like that red hot ball that sits in that water or sits on that stack of paper and it just burns through you. It doesn't get any colder, it just keeps burning and burning and burning. And that's what Raja did with his feelings. He bottled it up and then it just burnt through him. And then Then he exploded, and then it became violent, and then it became something horrible when it could have just been self-defense. Like you really could have got off with self-defense if you would have knocked Psycho Stu out when he hit you with that can. Like be a man, you know what I mean? And then you premeditated the attack talking about, "Oh, I'm gonna show him, this is gonna be real. You're gonna see something real." Bro, you're a coward, bro. You held that anger in and then tried to catch him when he least expected it. Absolutely cowardly. That's like Masvidal and Colby Covington levels of cowardly, you know what I mean? But I guess my advice here is like, to anyone else to avoid this happening to you. Like, yo, you gotta check it at the door. Check it at the door, bro. If you don't check it at the door, then you end up doing something stupid like this, and now you got the police department investigating you because you couldn't just be a man in the first place. You couldn't defend yourself as a man in the first place. You had to do something cowardly. So yeah, this is bad, yo. This is bad. Those are the things that I feel like those are the reasons that this happened. There's probably is some truth to Rampage's parenting not being that well. There's probably some truth to there being an inferiority complex inside of Raja, maybe because of how his father raised him or what he's seen from his father growing up. And not just the chat. The chat was probably part of it too, which doesn't help. And just having a cowardly spirit. Because no matter what you go through, you can still be a coward. No matter all the bad things that you go through or that people put you through, you can still be a horrible person. And that's when you know that it gets you. That's when you know that life has got you. When you become that horrible person and you don't care no more. And there's always freedom of speech. You can say what you want. It's not really freedom of actions, though, is there? As far as we know, LAPD is investigating. Psycho Stu is still alive, thank God. That's it. It's your boy Dolo Ren. Catch me on X, catch me on IG, catch me on YouTube, my other YouTube channel, I mean. And Productive Conversations podcast. I'm gonna be covering previewing UFC 320 with my boy Jose. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna get that right. And yeah, we're just gonna keep giving y'all content. So yeah, this is the Ghost of Arthur channel. My name is Dolo Ren, and that's what I think happened with the Raja thing.